It is not going to happen overnight. So you cannot look at the changes that you see overnight and base everything on it. You can't, have a really good run and feel all nice and tight the next day and say that, okay, that's all I need to do is run, or have a good, weight session where, you hit a certain amount of reps, or maybe a certain weight, or just whatever happens during that weight session, how you feel that day or the next day. That is not what you base everything off of. You take all those things into consideration as a whole, and you just have to know the whole picture. And if you think about, like I say, the things that are worthwhile, which I would hope include your body and the physique that you want, it takes time. We see the mainstream stuffing our face with all these images of beautiful bodies, and then right next to it, words that say in 4 weeks or less. Those people did not get those bodies in 4 weeks or less. They did not get them in even 8 weeks. If you even think about some of the more popular programs and, the P90X and STS and stuff like that, the reason why those things work, even though not saying they're not good programs, they work because they get you to commit to something for 12 weeks. When else are you going to commit to something for 12 weeks? Not that often, right? Because most of the time, we're committing for something for a week, 2 weeks at the most, and then we're freaking out when changes aren't happening. So program designers have learned that if they put out a 12-week program, it will get you to commit for 12 weeks. So if you're on a 12-week program and after 4 weeks you're not necessarily liking what you see, some people might quit, but then at least you'll think, well, I'm not finished with the program yet, so let me keep going to see how it works, because we'll at least give it that 12 weeks, and that is when you see more and more people getting results. But even on all of those programs, when you see that people that do the program over and over and over and over are the ones that have better and better and better and better results. And think about it, if you do P90X or Shaolin Extreme or STS or whatever your program is, if you do a 3-month program 4 times, you've just done that program for a year. Now you see where the results start coming in. And now you see, if you look on those sites and if you look at a lot of the before and after pictures, look at how many times that person has done that program. When you are looking at bodybuilders or figure competitors or, bikini models or whatever you're looking at, do the research and find out how long that person took to look like that. They did not look like that in 4 weeks. They did not look like that in 6 weeks. They did not look like that in 8 weeks. And 9 times out of 10, they didn't look like that in 12 weeks. I know that, like I said, even with right now, how fat I feel, I know how I'll look next week or the week after, or, when summer really hits in full swing and not just this random 90-degree day. I know how I'll really look, and I also know that I did not look anything like that the year before, and the year before that, or the year before that. Every year gets better. Why? Because I'm putting more and more time into it, and because I am staying consistent in the amount of time that I'm putting into it. I said I wasn't going to say the word, and I was trying not to, but I did. So you have to know that you got to put in work. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. And you got to have the days where you look like this, in order to have the days where you look like how you would typically see me look. So, and quite frankly, this is how I looked all winter, when I was going through my bulk. It was just soft, not really any definition or anything there, but that's okay because that was not my purpose then. My purpose then was building muscle. My purpose now is shedding fat. So, there's the different cycles that come into play then, and you don't necessarily look the way that you want to look all the time. Yes, maybe after I've gone through enough bulk cut cycles to where I have the musculature that I want, then I can move into the more, ripped year-round crowd, and so can you. But It takes time. It takes literally years to build the physiques that you see on TV, on magazines, you know, wherever you see these grand physiques that you want. It takes years to develop those physiques. They're not done in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever. I just really wish that people would understand that, because if you did, you would stick with what you're doing a lot longer, and you would know that, you know, eventually you will get there. But being hodgepodge and all over the place is not going to get you where you want to go. It's not going to get you that ripped physique. It's not going to get you to, you know, yeah, you may, I mean, even if you say like, hey, I want to get on stage, I want to compete, that's fine. You can compete, but you're not going to be anywhere near the quality of the people who have been doing those competitions for years. You may be at the best that you can be, but you will always have room to improve, and that is what you need to take into consideration, and that is what you need to be striving for, knowing that, you know, I'm going to put in some time, I'm going to put in the years that it takes, and I'm going to get there. Not saying that you won't lose the weight, but I'm just saying the actual physique part that you see, that you want. That is not, you're not going to look like Jamie Eason in 12 weeks. Sorry. You're not going to look like, you know, Monica Brandt or Aaron Stern or Nicole Wilkins or any other person that you want to look like, Holly Berry. It doesn't matter. Those people, they have personal trainers that figure out their plans for them, and they work the plan. Point blank, they work the plan. And another thing that you have to remember, when you see those people, when you see the videos, when you see the magazines, when you see them on stage, when they're on a magazine, that is called a photo shoot. They prepare for that. 9 times out of 10, they may have looked like this a couple weeks before. But when they know that photo shoot's coming, they know what to do to kick it into gear to make just the right lines, cuts, and everything come out in time for that photo shoot. Most of them do not look like that all the time. I don't look like that all the time. Don't expect yourself to look like that all the time. Yes, you can have a level of rippedness most of the time, once you get the level of musculature that it requires and the lowest level of body fat that your body requires to have that. But when you're a woman, you know, sometimes you gotta prepare for the worst, which is this, you know, all this extra stuff. That's all. I really didn't have anything to say, and I hope you guys weren't really looking for something